Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jeffrey with AchieveEd. Now, before you submit your regular decision applications, make sure you proofread your essays. And in this video, I want to talk about a really important proofreading strategy that you should definitely use before submitting your college essays. So I'm going to skip over the spelling and grammar checks because that's what you should be doing by default, right? Like, I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just too obvious, right? What I'm going to talk about today is proofreading to make sure that you have actually answered the prompt. Now you might be thinking, okay, come on, that's so easy. Like, I obviously read the prompt before I started writing, but you'd be surprised. I've read a lot of essays these past few weeks with AchieveEd. By the way, if you want your essay read and reviewed by the AchieveEd team, go ahead and click the first link in the description down below. But anyways, okay, so I've read a lot of essays and I notice like too often that students are just not answering the prompt fully or correctly, right? So that's why I think it's so important to talk about this to make sure that you guys are not making the same mistakes. So in order to convey my point, we're gonna use a few example prompts. So first, let's go to the Common App essay prompt number 5, right? So it says, discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. So, at first glance, easy enough. But let's actually break this prompt down even further. Let's break it down into as many small parts as we can. So, part 1 of this prompt is discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization, right? So that's the first part. You have to discuss something, right? Whether it's an accomplishment, an event, or realization, something that happened to you, right? So that's the first thing you have to do. Second thing you have to do is that sparked a period of personal growth, right? So this is the second part of this prompt. It has to be, that thing you talked about has to be something that sparked personal growth, right? So that suggests you have to talk about, right, how you grew from that accomplishment, event, or realization. And then the third and final part of this prompt here is, and a new understanding of yourself or others. So since this is one of the more popular Common App prompts, I have been able to read quite a few essays that have used this prompt. And I feel like a recurring theme, right, is students spending too much of their essay talking about the first part. They're spending a lot of their essay just talking about that event or talking about that award that they got, but they're not talking enough about the personal growth, right? That's in fact, what I think is equally, if not more important, right, than just simply discussing, what happened to you, right? You want to show the colleges that you had some growth, right? That you had something that you learned out of that accomplishment, event, or realization. And that's what I think a lot of students are lacking, or at least not sufficiently talking about in their essays. So to summarize, when you're looking at a prompt, make sure you are breaking it down and make sure that you are answering every single part of the prompt. Now let's go ahead and go to another example here. So here we have Penn essays. So their first prompt is, how did you discover your intellectual and academic interests, and how will you explore them at the University of Pennsylvania? Again, another very common kind of prompt, right? It's talking about why do you want to attend this school, basically. And again, let's break down this prompt, right? So the first part of this prompt is, how did you discover your intellectual and academic interests? And the second part is, and how will you explore them at the University of Pennsylvania? So again, with this prompt, I see a lot of students, right, just talking about the second part of it, right? And how will you explore them at the University of Pennsylvania? They're not really talking too much about the first part, which is, how did you discover your intellectual and academic interests, right? The prompt literally asks you both things, so you do want to make sure you are answering both parts. Not only should you be talking about all the great programs at Penn and all the courses and all the professors and all the things you can do to develop your interests at Penn, right? You also want to be talking about how you discovered those interests yourself. So again, with this UPenn prompt, you want to break down the prompt and make sure you are answering every single part. All right, so let's go ahead and go through one more example here. So we're going to go on to the Yale essays. let's go ahead and use this prompt as an example. Why do these areas appeal to you? The thing about this prompt is when you try to break it down, there's only really one part to it. So that means with this prompt, you only have to answer one question, right? They're just asking you, why are you interested in those areas that you put down, right? And I see actually some students going extra, right? They're like talking about more than they have to. They're talking about why those areas appeal to them. Then they're also adding in like how they can explore those interests at Yale and the courses that they plan to take, etc. And in reality, that stuff is great, but it's not even needed in this prompt. This prompt does not ask you what's so great about Yale or why do you want to apply to Yale. This is simply asking you, why do these areas appeal to you? So you just have to answer that question. And in fact, with Yale, the very next prompt asks, what is it about Yale that has led you to apply? So all your stuff about, why you want to attend Yale, the courses you want to take, or the professors you want to meet, whatever you want to talk about, right? That stuff should be going into that essay. And in this essay, why do these areas appeal to you? You don't need to talk about that, right? Especially with these essays having very low word limits, like 125 words, right? You don't have that much space to begin with. So you want to make sure that you are using every single word wisely. And that starts with answering the question and not putting any extraneous information. And again, this is especially important when you literally have another essay from that same college that asks a different question that you'd be able to put all your extra information into. So basically my whole point of this video is that when you're proofreading your essays, beyond just checking for, spelling and grammar and punctuation, like all that stuff, right? You want to be checking that you are actually answering the prompt correctly and fully. Break down the prompt into as many little pieces as possible and make sure that you can check off each one of those boxes. Make sure that you have answered every single part of the question. And if you have any extra information in your essay that you don't need to include in that prompt, see if you can move it to another essay. Or if you don't have enough information, if you're not answering all the parts, make sure you are answering all the parts. And yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I do hope you guys found this video helpful as you guys are, finishing up your applications and all that stuff. Again, if you want a free consultation with the Achieve Ed team to talk about your college applications or talk about your essays, first link in the description down below. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel if you haven't already so that you don't miss a single college advice upload. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.